I came to London, I think 9 years ago. But I didn't know much about electronic music and I didn't think much of it as well. I went to this club and there was like this mad Brazilian lady. Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, talking away, not stopping. And yeah, it was ISIS.
No biting, dancing instead. When we first met, music was already so much part of my life that it was a natural route that he got into it as well. I was part of Loki, which was a Sunday party, but I wanted more. I wanted to just take a room and challenge the sound system to what I believe is the best standards that I can get. So then me and Klaus started Toi Toi. It's about the sound and the music. You make sure that the person on the back of the room is getting the same frequencies at the same time as the person in front of the room, then you already have a unified dance floor.
It's a sacred space really, where you can either think about your life or switch off.
When you look at that floor, that's what brings me here next month all over again. But we have full-time jobs, we have lives outside these parties. Just over 3 years now I have the Toi Toi agency. I manage 8 artists. The thing that I think is special about the Toi Toi agency is the fact that these are not just DJs. They are architects, fine artists, painters. They are artists in its full definition.
As a little kid, I started drawing imaginary maps of foreign lands with like buildings on it and on massive scale. The interest of how stuff is made, how it's been put together and how it's designed, I think comes from somewhere inside and it carried through to architecture. I work for a company called Metaphor. We're specialized in exhibition design or cultural buildings. We are in the Victoria and Albert Museum and this room is called the Cast Courts. The job was basically to take this room, brighten it up and actually give the room a storyline. And you take measurements and then we just move it from there. By getting the architecture back into my life, it has this creative balance to it. Obviously music is pure creativity, but architecture is also problem solving. You have to do something nice in a very confined space and try to make it work.
Spooky.
We've got some as well. So we've got loads actually. Do you need to have
I was DJing at a warehouse in outskirts of Manchester and Table was there.
I kind of mentioned that I was quite interested in starting my own night. Sam contacted me and kind of said he was going to start a new night with someone called Andrew Lister and would I be interested in talking to them about it.
Hey. So the three of us got together and sat down and discussed an idea for doing a series of parties, which turned out to be the first season of Me and You.
We're all into the same ideology of just putting on a party that we all wanted to be at, and hopefully everyone else did.
Being a promoter is really different to my day-to-day life. I'm in the process of setting up my own business, which is titled Placement Group. Placement Group is a cross-disciplinary creative agency, and I'm currently working with a printmaker called Patrick Moran. Patrick runs a black metal zine, which is quite specialist, and we're working on a launch event and collaboration at LNCC.
James was talking about like either projecting onto it or like blowing up some of the illustrations.
I think his remit is kind of quite far away from the LNCC crowd, so being able to join those ducks is quite unique and really fulfilling for me. I live and work full-time in London, but that doesn't stop me communicating with the other guys that live in Manchester full-time. And then the reward is quite often getting to go to see them when we do parties. At the moment, we're all incredibly busy. Sam and Andrew both have young families.
What's his temperament like?
Really chilled, just like his dad.
The dynamic between us all is kind of constantly changing because of life, but we still think there's an urgency in doing the parties and doing the label, and we still think it's kind of beneficial towards the city. The night is only the starting point of that relationship, and that's something that will kind of have a legacy to it.
The left-hand side, there's like a really long car park.
While I was doing my journalism degree, I was looking for work experience and I couldn't find any, so I decided to start a blog called Abandoned Silence. After running that for around 6 months, I decided to look into putting events on. When we first started, there were 3 or 4 nights that were similar to us, whereas now in Liverpool there's 15 to 20. Being a promoter for 7 years has meant that I've been basically gambling with my life savings. Every show is kind of an all-in bet, like you either pays off or you're massively screwed at the end of it. Are you okay? I'm here to see Sam and everyone. A year ago I first met Sam Wheel, who's like a local creative director who has worked with the Coral and Forest Swords, and we're trying to work out a way to make the Abandoned Silence different. So me and Sam kind of went away and had this idea of 3 archways all the way down the room. Thankfully we were given a grant by Arts Council, so that enabled us to buy a huge bank of projectors and a lot of screens. We use live action in the visuals, so like there's characters dancing around the venue and it's something above that you can look at and kind of lose yourself in. DJing definitely started as a hobby and over time has become bigger and bigger to a point where now I'm going to DJ at festivals and stuff and people actually going to see you play. Probably one of the most surreal things about Abandoned Silence has been starting to do that. The Buyers Club opened around 18 months ago in Liverpool. It's in the site of a former trade union building. Emily, you okay? I was approached to get involved as venue programmer. Kind of doubles up as my office, to be honest. I kind of spend pretty much every day in there when it's open, having meetings with people coming in to have a look at the venue and dealing with inquiries that come in. Well, I'll be over in around an hour. Finding a balance between like hectic nightlife and day-to-day stuff, that's kind of the shock to the system when Buyers Club opened. Like kind of looking after a bar, running a club night, DJing. It's all stuff that people do as hobbies. There's been times down the years where we've had gigs where not many people have come to it and maybe you're a little bit out of pocket and you've kind of got to think, do I just give up here? And that's gone through my mind a few times, but 6 years down the line, it's still going on.
50 charge, yeah.
I'll get it for you, mate. That's all right. And can I get an Americano as well, please? I know Scotch egg
I
played
know Caribou did, and
yeah.
A few people.
And he was like, actually, I'm just going to send a message
to
Boyle.
Yeah.
He's playing just round the corner.
If he's playing somewhere, you just go and just watch it.
Yeah.
Me and Hamish met through one of my friends, and we both came to Leeds at the same time.
He'd come around my house on Brudenell Grove, and we kind of get together and have mixes. We were just like, we need to do this ourselves, you know. We were collecting all these records, but we're just playing them in our living room. So decided to start a night. We started Butter Side Up. We had to come up with a venue, so sent a proposal to Wire. We've been there ever since.
As any promoter will tell you, there are many, many times where you're not having happy conversations at the end of the night. To then pick yourself up and go to the next one, you need that support of everyone around you. Hamish is one of my best mates. I mean, that relationship has kept it going.
As well as Butter Side Up, I also run KMAR Radio, and I run that on the side.
Volume 2. KMAR was an idea actually started by Kristen Carroll. He said, oh, you know, I think Leeds needs a radio station, but we didn't have a clue where to start. We didn't have any experience in radio. So then we asked Mike Stockel and Arthur Barr. KMAR is our initials, Kristen, Mike, Arthur, Hamish.
Good afternoon. DJ Slipper's here till 4 o'clock.
A lot of our shows started with just like a collection of our friends that were doing things, like parties, record collectors, and then that kind of built up, didn't it? We've been going for nearly 2 years since, and it's been very testing at times. It's so much work, and obviously we don't get paid for it. I've got the full-time job, and I've got a lot of other things on, but we're doing something for the Leeds scene. The feeling of kind of like driving somewhere and just listening to the radio station is still so satisfying. That's what keeps me doing it today.
We lost the genius that was David Axelrod this week, so it seems appropriate to kick off with a tune of his called Holy Thursday.
I'm the general manager at Wire and Hi-Fi, so I look after both venues. There's always something interesting to do. There's always something that you're not expecting, whether you've got the experience in it or not. You just have to kind of learn on the job a lot of the time. Do a lot of lighting-based stuff now as well, which is something, again, I never thought I'd really get involved with. I'll look at things like, are the speakers working properly? You know, do we need to tweak it for any different nights? And also making sure that the customers that come in have an amazing experience. It was the one on the bottom, it might be the actual part of the magnet or something like that that's gone, I'm not too sure. Yeah. Working with these guys from a promoter's point of view and then stepping into a kind of more managerial role, it is, you know, it's a well-rounded thing. It's just finding that balance between it all, I guess, is the hard part. Yeah, that's me.